Section 0 of Dangerous Connections. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dangerous Connections by Pierre Choderlos de Laclos. Section 0. Note to the present edition. Publisher's note to the first edition. Author's preface and dramatis personae. Les Liaisons dangereuses are letters collected in a private society and published for the instruction of others, by Choderlos de Laclos, translated by Ernest Dowson. Note to the present edition. A.D. 1898. Choderlos de Laclos was the Gallic Richardson of the 18th century, and he might more justly than Stendhal be called the father of French realism. With inimitable wit and the finest analysis of character, he depicted the corrupt society of his day. His aim was excellent, but in his endeavor to point out his moral, he painted the vice which he wished to flagellate in colors so glowing that he appears more an advocate than an opponent of immorality. In his attempt to portray the wiles of the seducer for a warning to the unwary, the author of the Liaisons dangereuses produced the most complete manual of the art of seduction, so that during the austere reign of Charles X, this masterpiece was suppressed as throwing too lurid a reflection on the manners and morals of the old regime. Les Liaisons dangereuses is now for the first time literally and completely translated into English by Mr. Ernest Dowson, whose rendering of La Terre in the Lutetia Society's issue of Zola gained such a warm meed of praise. To render this edition of Les Liaisons dangereuses worthy of its fame as one of the chefs-d'œuvre of literature, it is illustrated with fine photogravure reproductions of the whole of the 15 charming designs by Monet, Fragonard fils, and Gérard, which appeared in the much coveted French edition of 1796, and which are full of that inexpressible grace and beauty inseparable from the work of these masters of French art of the 18th century. Publisher's Note to the First Edition, 1784. We think it our duty to warn the public that, in spite of the title of this work and of what the editor says of it in his preface, we do not guarantee the authenticity of this narrative, and have even strong reasons for believing that it is but a romance. It seems to us, moreover, that the author, who yet seems to have sought after verisimilitude, has himself destroyed that, and maladroitly, owing to the period which he hath chosen in which to place these adventures. Certainly, several of the personages whom he brings on his stage have morals so sorry that it were impossible to believe that they lived in our century, in this century of philosophy, where the light shed on all sides has rendered, as every one knows, all men so honourable, all women so modest and reserved. Our opinion is, therefore, that if the adventures related in this work possess a foundation of truth, they could not have occurred save in other places and in other times, and we must censure our author, who, seduced apparently by his hope of being more diverting by treating rather of his own age and country, has dared to clothe in our customs and our costumes a state of morals so remote from us. To preserve the too credulous reader, at least so far as it lies with us, from all surprise in this matter, we will support our opinion with an argument which we proffer to him in all confidence, because it seems to us victorious and unanswerable. It is that, undoubtedly, like causes should not fail to produce like effects, and that, nevertheless, we do not hear today of young ladies with incomes of 60,000 livres turning nuns, nor of young and pretty dame presidents dying of grief. Author's Preface. This work, or rather this compilation, which the public will, perhaps, still find too voluminous, contains, however, but a very small portion of the letters which compose the correspondence whence it is extracted. Charged with the care of setting it in order by the persons into whose hands it had come, and whom I knew to have the intention of publishing it, I asked, for reward of my pains, no more than the permission to prune it of all that appeared to me useless, and I have, in fact, endeavored
Sample complete. Ready to continue?